Hey class, so what I've got on my screen, and I'm going to post this link on Blackboard, is the German ambitions for its attack on Russia in June of 1941 and the reality. And of course, the reality did not meet the aspirations, Hitler's aspirations. And just a reminder of something that's, I think, pretty obvious to you now. It's, I think, surprisingly not obvious to a lot of folks that think they know about World War II, is Hitler's game plan was he wanted to create a continental empire in Eurasia. He wanted to do what he argued that the United States had done in the 19th century when it had created an empire that stretched from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. Now, I'm not equating the two in any way, shape, or form. I'm just telling you this is how Hitler thought. This is how Hitler thought. So what we're looking at here is his attempt to create a continental empire. And of course, what's behind that is the capture of natural resources, especially the wheat basket, the growing areas, the wheat growing areas of Ukraine, Belarus, Kazakhstan, some of those other areas of the Soviet Union that are tremendous areas for growing to this very day, growing food that feeds not only those countries but the world. And also the oil-rich areas of the Black Sea, which to this day are huge producers of oil globally. So now, I'm sorry, I left my phone. I'm getting these texts, and I don't know, just super annoying. So I'm just gonna keep on going. So what we have here is that just a quick reminder. The Germans had gone into Poland in September 1st, 1939, had taken Poland very quickly. They'd made an agreement. The Germans and the Soviets, they divide Poland in half. I think you're very well aware of this. Then in the summer of 1940, the Germans capture Western Europe, France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Denmark, Norway. And it looks like they're rolling, but England, and I've just talked about this, under the leadership of Churchill, said no. Hitler just thought, hey, I've won the war. England says no, but I've really won it, at least in his own mind. And what happened was, as England's intransigence, what it did was it forced Hitler to go east, to go and attack the Soviet Union before Great Britain had been defeated. And he ends up fighting the two-front war that he had dreaded. And when I'm talking about England refusing to bow down to Hitler and surrender, I can't signify the importance. Behind Britain is the United States. Britain is just holding out really by its fingernails until the United States comes into the war. Roosevelt's doing everything that he can do to drag the United States into the war, but as I've said many times, you've seen the movie, but public opinion is very, very reluctant in the United States to get involved in the war. And ultimately, it's not until Japan bombs us that we get involved in the war. This is the other thing, which I've said a lot, but it's worth repeating. From Roosevelt's point of view, Germany was the big problem. Roosevelt always felt that the U.S. could defeat Japan. We had actually a game plan for defeating Japan that had been in place since the 1920s. It was going to be a very bloody war and very difficult. But Roosevelt, I think, always felt fairly confident or very confident that the U.S. would defeat Japan. Very, very different story with Hitler. Hitler, from Roosevelt's point of view, was really the far more dangerous enemy in a geopolitical sense. And if Hitler had gotten in control of the Soviet Union, if he'd been able to capture the continental empire that he hoped to capture, that ultimately that would have been much more of a threat to the United States than the Japanese would ever be.